They hid me behind flowers at my daughter's wedding, like I was a shameful secret. Have you ever been betrayed by family? 3 days later, I unleashed a $33,247,891 $33,247,891 secret that crushed a criminal empire. Stay with me. This story of betrayal and revenge will blow your mind. My name is Marian Ellery, and I'm 73 years old. For 47 years, I was married to Daniel, a man most saw as a modest accountant who drove a 15-year-old Honda and clipped coupons from the Sunday paper. He wore 3 ties in rotation, bought discount shoes, and painted our fence every spring himself. Neighbors thought we were a simple middle-class couple living on a pension. What they didn't know, what I didn't fully know, was that Daniel was a financial genius, quietly building an empire while living like a church mouse. Daniel spent hours every evening in his basement office, doing the books for small businesses, or so I thought. I assumed he earned a few $100s extra a month. In reality, he was orchestrating investments that would make Wall Street jealous, buying Apple stock for pennies, investing in Google before it was a household name, and purchasing real estate that bloomed decades later. He never spoke of money, only saying, "Marian, will never be a burden." I thought he meant a modest retirement. I was wrong. Our daughter, Nora, was our world. Brilliant and ambitious, she moved to the city after college, working at a marketing firm. Over time, she grew distant, embarrassed by our quaint lifestyle. Her visits were rare, her comments sharp. Our furniture was charming, our ways old-fashioned. I saw her pulling away, but I hoped love would keep us close. Then she met Adrian Cole. Adrian was everything Nora craved: sophisticated, wealthy, connected. His financial consulting firm, Barton, Marsh, and Wells BMW, and tailored suits, screamed success. When Nora brought him home, he surveyed our living room like it was a garage sale. His smile was perfect, but his eyes reminded me of a cat eyeing a wounded bird. His mother, Lorraine Cole, was worse, a socialite who used charity galas to climb the social ladder, her jewelry worth more than our house. At a dinner Nora hosted, Lorraine looked at me like I was dirt on her shoe. "How quaint," she said of our home, her tone dripping with disdain. During Nora's engagement, I was slowly erased from her life. Wedding plans excluded me. Decisions were made without my input. When I suggested our church hall for the reception, Nora scoffed. "Mother, this isn't 1975. Adrian's family expects a certain standard." The wedding at Grandview Estate was lavish, costing more than our home. Nora wore my grandmother's lace dress, the only trace of our family's history. But at the wedding, I was treated like an embarrassment. My table was at the back, hidden behind a massive flower arrangement. I overheard Lorraine tell the planner, "Be strategic about sightlines. Some guests are less photogenic." Her eyes were on me. I sat in leafy exile, watching Nora float through her new life, my place in it minimized. Adrian worked the room like a predator, lingering with elderly, wealthy guests, collecting business cards, his eyes lighting up at mentions of retirement accounts. I thought he was just social. I was wrong. During a lull, Adrian sat beside me. "Marian," he said, his voice polished, "you must be overwhelmed by all this." He spoke of Nora's stability, then shifted. "I worry about you. Alone, since Daniel passed, managing finances, making decisions. Unscrupulous people prey on widows. Let's talk privately Wednesday." I raised my water glass to hide a smile. "How gallant, Adrian." That night, in my car, I processed the humiliation. My daughter's wedding, and I was a hidden inconvenience. Adrian's words rang alarms I couldn't yet name. At home, our house felt empty, but Daniel had left me more than memories. 8 months earlier, Daniel died of heart failure, fighting to the end. His first heart attack came while reading the financial section. "Not yet," he told paramedics, surviving 3 attacks over 4 months. He spent his final days in his basement office, working feverishly on secret projects. When I brought him coffee, I saw legal documents and notes, but he'd say, "Not yet, Marian." His heart stopped at his desk, leaving a single envelope with my name. Inside, a key and a note: "Basement safe, behind the water heater. After you've grieved." Grief kept me from that safe for months. I paid bills from the joint account, kept the lights on, and tried to navigate daily life in silence, all while avoiding the basement as if it were sacred ground. But Adrian's words at the wedding sparked my resolve. The Monday after, I opened the safe. Inside were folders, account numbers in Daniel's careful script, and a summary sheet. Total portfolio value, $33,247,891. $33,247,891. $33 million. Daniel had hidden a fortune in trusts and LLCs, a maze only he could navigate. Apple, Google, real estate. His investments were genius. A letter in his handwriting read, "My dearest Marian, if you're reading this, my stubborn heart lost its fight. I hope you've grieved properly. You were always better with emotions. You're wondering why we lived like church mice. Wealth makes you a target. I've seen friends lose everything to greedy children or advisors. I hid this to protect us, especially you. You're the better strategist, seeing through people's facades. I was good with numbers. You're good with people. Jenna Ruiz, an attorney, knows the accounts. She'll help you fight. Use this money to live as you choose, but also to protect yourself from those who'd steal it, cloaking their greed in concern. Trust your instincts. You're never wrong about people. All, my love. Danielps. Our garden's flowers aren't the only things with deep roots." I sat for hours, absorbing Daniel's love letter in numbers. This was power, freedom to live on my terms, not as anyone's victim. I called Jenna Ruiz that night. Her voice was sharp, like she filed her nails with knives. "Mrs. Ellery, I've been waiting. Tell me who's sniffing around your finances." I recounted the wedding, Adrian's offer. She listened silently, then said, "Textbook elder abuse. He's fishing for your wealth. We won't just swat him, we'll build a case. Agree to his meeting, record everything, and we'll map his network." I called Adrian, trembling my voice. "I'm overwhelmed, dear. If you can help with Daniel's affairs, I'd be grateful." His eagerness was palpable. "Friday at 3, Marian. I'll bring documents, basic protections." I confirmed with Jenna. He took the bait. Friday was drizzly. Jenna arrived with Mike, a nondescript tech specialist. 3 cameras, Mike said, bookshelf, kitchen, hallway, audio in a decorative box, and on you. Jenna coached me. "He'll bring complex documents, power of attorney, trusts to intimidate you. Ask about hidden assets. Get him to admit his intent." Adrian arrived with Sandra Wilkins, a notary with shark-like eyes, at my dining table. He spread documents like a dealer. "Standard forms, Marian. Durable power of attorney for your protection." Illness. Confusion. I feigned confusion. "You'd access all my accounts." His eyes flickered. "Only to protect you. Even unknown accounts. To keep them safe. For an hour." He explained forms, stripping my independence, healthcare proxy, living will, a trust, transferring everything to his control. His tone was caring, never pushy. "This trust protects your house, savings, everything from lawsuits, creditors," he said. I asked, "What if Daniel left more than we think?" "Hidden accounts." His pupils dilated. "Yes, Marian, men like Daniel hid assets. The trust protects it all." I pushed further. "If there's millions, tens of millions, you'd manage that." Greed flashed across his face. "The larger the estate, the more you need me. Wealthy widows are targets without professional management." Sandra urged, "Sign today." "Mrs. Ellery, delay is risky." I signed the final document with void signed under duress. Adrian didn't notice until Agent Sahir Malik and 2 detectives entered. "Mr. Cole, step away," Malik said. Adrian's face cycled through shock and betrayal as they read his rights. "Marian, what have you done?" He stammered. "Protected myself from a predator," I replied. "You misfiled me." Sandra was arrested too, her briefcase full of fraudulent templates. Malik explained, "You've given us enough to dismantle Adrian's network. We've tracked him for months, but needed this." The documents revealed 60 victims, mostly widows, with $80 million stolen across 3 states. Nora arrived that night, eyes swollen. "Adrian says you're vindictive." I showed her the evidence. "He tried to steal my life on paper." There's a difference between vindictive and awake. Devastated. Nora learned Adrian targeted me before their engagement, using her as a pawn. She filed for divorce, taking an apartment by the river, reclaiming her name and life. Investigations uncovered Adrian's network, corrupt lawyers, notaries, and accountants moving assets through shell companies. His partner, Stephen Pike, created fake advisory firms. Lorraine polished their image at Gallup. Adrian got 18 years, Stephen 12. 2 lawyers were disbarred. An accountant took a plea deal. Agent Mullick called. Dozens more victims with identical paperwork. "Help us lock up the ring," I replied. "My money's been waiting to be useful." With Jenna, we founded the Ellery Project above a Vietnamese bakery. Lawyers answered phones, volunteers filed affidavits, data teams flagged fraud. By month 3, 17 arrests. By month 6, 67, with $80 million returned or frozen. Victims wrote, "Thank you for my home. I can stay near my church." The White House called about a civil medal for elder protection. At the ceremony, Nora squeezed my hand as I said, "We will not be quiet prey. We will be costly to hunt." Congress held hearings. I testified. Taking someone's independence is a life sentence. The punishment should match. With Daniel's joy money, I opened Marion's tea house and bindery in a crooked Victorian. Survivors came for scones, bringing frayed Bibles to repair under the skylight. One woman with a cane said, "I kept my house. I gave her an extra lemon tart." Sometimes I think of the wedding, those flowers hiding me. I think of Adrian's pen, poised to steal my life. I think of Daniel's letter, urging me to be dangerous. Nora asked if I forgave her. "I forgive us both for seeking peace in a room that needed noise." I said, "Peace shouldn't cost the truth." When Malek called to say Adrian's appeal failed and restitution checks cleared, I stood on my porch, leaves falling like applause. "You changed how they hunt," he said. "No," I replied. "We changed how we stand. If someone's trying to reduce you to a signature, hear me, you're not a file. You're a person with a name, a history, a spine that can be glued stronger than before." They hid me behind flowers. They forgot flowers have roots. Mine cracked their world apart. If this story moved you, subscribe and share your story in the comments.